What's up guys, RBG here, hitting you guys up with more coverage on Marvel Spider-Man PS4. And man, do we have a lot of stuff to cover. But before we get into the video, I just want to give a big shout out to all those who took time out of their day to watch the videos. The fact that you would rather watch my boring videos than check out the latest condom snorting challenge vids means a lot to me. As long as you guys keep leaving awesome feedback, I'll keep hitting you guys with updates. But anyways, a few days ago we got a huge amount of news from gameinformer and the interwebs. And yes, the bulk of that news came courtesy of leaks which set the community ablaze. Apparently, by some miracle or bad luck, whatever you want to call it, someone within Sony accidentally leaked the secret costume that will be a part of the pre-order bonus, and it just so happened to be the Iron Spider Suit from the upcoming Infinity War film. Now, I had a feeling this costume would make it in the game in some form or fashion. In one of my previous analogy videos, I mentioned that it would be either this suit or the Spider-Man Homecoming one, simply because they're the most relevant entries in Spider-Man related media, and it'll probably be easy for Insomniac to work in those mechanic eye animations on the mask. And just to get off topic, word around the campfire is that Insomniac has always wanted to use the mechanical eyes years before Marvel Studios unveiled it in Captain America Civil War. If this is true, it further proves that Insomniac is the perfect team to work on a project such as this one. But anyways, before we got the leaked video, we had actually gotten screenshots of the Iron Spider suit a few hours earlier, so we were pretty much playing the waiting game to see what it actually does in motion. Now, to keep from getting my channel taken down, I'm not going to feature this footage since it hasn't been officially released by Insomniac. I'm not sure it would make a difference because there wasn't much to write home about in regards to the suit's functionalities anyway. Just like the Spider-Punk suit trailer, they only show Spider-Man performing things we usually see him doing, like flipping around in the air during web swinging and getting low to street level to interact with some of the civilians. I figured they'd do this because for one, it'll sort of ruin the element of surprise of what they actually show when we play the game, and I don't think they want to unveil too much because Marvel Studios doesn't want to spoil its capabilities before the Infinity War hits theaters. Now, if you're a devout Spider-Man fan, you pretty much already know what this suit does going in. It's a highly advanced start tech suit that pretty much gives Spider-Man similar capabilities of Iron Man. Now, we've gotten a brief taste of its inner workings since the Homecoming costume is technically the Iron Spider without the arms and other perks. My biggest question is how will Insomniac implement some of its features in the game, because that's going to be a lot of work. And all of these features makes the Iron Spider suit so OP. Like the Waldo arms are characters in their own right since they can function with a mere thought from Peter Parker. Some of the things I think they'll do is give you an unlimited supply of the gadgets you already have available in the game, or maybe add more effectiveness to them. I know for one, they're gonna have to give Spidey a significant boost in strength since the Iron Spider is all about power management. Based on the details Insomniac provided about the Spider-Punk using a signature move with his guitar, I'm guessing Iron Spider will have a special attack that he performs with his Waldo arms. But hey, who knows? I'm just hoping it has some noteworthy abilities because I definitely want to craft some of its features into my own custom suit. I think we all can agree that we hope they'll feature all of the different suits from the Spider-Verse. Like I think of that epic Spider Wars arc from the 90s cartoon where we have multiple variations of Spider-Man from different parallel universes. I love to play around with the Scarlet Spider or even Spider Corners for that matter because they kinda ushered in that Spider-Verse idea. Here's hoping Insomniac will be open to giving fans their favorite costumes after the game's been released. But to get back on track, we got more details on how the combat actually works in Spider-Man PS4. Last Wednesday, gameinformer provided us with a video interviewing the game director, and he gave us a general idea of what the combat will entail. The article states that there are still many elements yet to be revealed of how your moment-to-moment experience playing Spider-Man will feel, including the mechanics of combat. The developer gives an in-depth talk about how Spidey's skills have been honed throughout his career as a superhero and how he's a master of improvisation. This is something that will further help expound upon his growth and how he handles things compared to how he did as a teenager donning the uniform. And I absolutely think it'll play a big part in the story because Spider-Man is a very flawed character in a sense. Like, we're so accustomed to the young Peter who's at the mercy of his obsession, which happens to be his love for being Spidey. But as we know, that obsession always seems to impact his social life, whether it be his relationship with his girlfriend Mary Jane and his friendships. But anyways, the director elaborates how combat can go from your typical melee of Spider-Man performing iconic acrobats to stylish gadget usage, saying that the team wants to encourage the players to actually try to play to Spidey's strengths, like starting your fights on the ground and transitioning them to the air. You know, experiment a little. Judging from all of the footage we've seen with combat, I've noticed that there's a meter at the upper right hand corner that tallies up moves you dish out to your enemies. Now, this is something I've been wanting in a Spider-Man title for the longest: combo chain experimentation. If Spider-Man has all of these sick moves in his repertoire, why not provoke the players to use them stylishly? Games like the Devil May Cry series come to mind, where you get rewarded based on how well you execute different combos. I'm assuming that this kind of playstyle will determine how you'll gain experience points to level up for more abilities and gear. It seems like the creative director is alluding to this when he says each attack has different variations, like pressing a button to perform a simple attack or holding the same said button to make your attack stronger, like a launcher. Another aspect he briefly goes into is how utilizing the environment will play into your combat. Now, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me bring up the Amazing Spider-Man game and comparing it to this, which I totally understand, but Insomniac seems to be borrowing a lot of features from it. Although it was a pretty mediocre game, Beanox actually had some good ideas, they just failed in their execution, which a lot of developers do when they're working on a game in a short development window cycle. Anyways, I've noticed that Spider-Man shares a similar feature where certain objects in the environment will be highlighted to indicate that they can be used in combat. In the Amazing Spider-Man, you can perform a web rush into something like a garbage disposal and slam it onto hordes of enemies. Of course, this game will have a different approach to that gimmick. From what we've seen, Spider-Man will mainly use his web to pull things down, causing them to collapse onto your target. Another mechanic I think was pulled from Amazing Spider-Man was the finisher, where the player can perform a random special after they have an enemy stunned or webbed up. Shortly after Spidey succeeds in hitting all of the surrounding enemies with a web bomb, you'll notice triangle and circle appear over their heads. Now granted, this only appeared over 2 of the tied up victims, so I guess the special depends on how much damage each victim sustains. So yeah. Other than that, the director talked about the 3 gadgets that will be available after you've attained the advanced suit, so there's not really much to take away from it that we haven't already gotten from other articles. And last but not least, he went more in detail about the sub-objectives and side missions. As you web swing around the city, you'll be able to stop all kinds of crime. You can choose to stop storefront robberies and interrupt a car chase. The director also says that Spider-Man will bust up drug deals in alleys that will further lead into sub-objectives that require you to perform more moves or utilize specific gadgets. I can imagine fighting a group of burglars and being tasked with tying them up to a traffic light so the cops can arrest them. You know, something Spider-Man would do. The team at gameinformer said that they saw this in action when a second robbery they stopped evolved into a car chase when some of the bad guys got away. So this pretty much ensures that the missions won't get too stale. Like, I know there's only so much you can do in terms of missions, but hey, who knows. Anyways, we got a confirmation that there will be a ton of characters who will interact with Spidey via side missions. Some of the main ones being the Black Cat and Taskmaster. And I pretty much saw this coming with Black Cat because she's like been a staple in Spider-Man games since I can remember. Her missions will come in the form of challenges where you'll be tasked with finding a lucky cat she's hid in the environment. gameinformer goes on to say that she's working on something big and that completing her missions will unravel her story. I'm thinking this will be something in the same realm as the side missions in Web of Shadows, where you'll be able to join Cat in her nightly crusades. That was one of the best usages of the Black Cat I've seen, because the more you advance in her missions, the more consequential your actions become. I can't wait to see what kind of design Insomniac gives her. Like, if we're dealing with a more seasoned version of Spider-Man, then I can only imagine how badass Felicia Hardy is now that she has years of experience under her belts. Now, when it comes to the Taskmasters missions, you will have to find these random communication devices lying around the city with objectives for you to complete. gameinformer talked about how they encountered one mission where the Taskmaster ordered them to find a ticking bomb where they had to throw it in the air and fire off a series of webs at the end in order to mute the explosion. The more webs they shot at the bomb before it exploded, the more points they earned on their mission rating. While completing these missions, the Taskmaster will apparently be watching you from the shadows. Now, the Taskmaster is one of those villains that I think we'll end up facing in an epic hand-to-hand battle. He's basically Deathstroke dialed up to 11 with his photographic reflexes and whatnot. But he doesn't necessarily possess any superhuman powers like Spidey does, so I'm assuming he'll be studying Spider-Man's movements since gameinformer says he'll be watching from the shadows. It's gonna be pretty sick facing off with him since we haven't really seen him in that many games with the exception of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Last but certainly not least, we have the Kingpin. They say that he'll be arrested in the game's opening mission, but his business will still be going strong. I'm assuming we already got a glimpse of what his missions will be like since we saw Spidey working for him during last year's E3 coverage. Throughout the world, you will find Kingpin bases full of bad guys trying to keep their boss's business alive while he is behind bars. These will function as combat challenges. But anyways, that's all the news I have for you guys today. I want to know what you think about all of this information. Are you pleased to know that the Iron Spider Suit will be in the game? And what do you think the last suit will be? Get at me in the comment section below. As always, I ask you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback, will only help me improve on future content. But if you actually enjoyed the video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it on social media platforms with all your friends and followers. Once again, this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.